Welcome to the Roots recap. Whoop, whoop. Another great week. It's Friday.
Man, what a week we had.
Yeah, I loved. So oil's up big. Uh, well, had kind of
From
like
the
a
middle of the week, it's about
yeah
flat
from the
from where
middle
we
of the week.
started.
It's still up big from a long or several weeks ago. Uh,
Still feeling in the gas pumps, too.
Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, I imagine we'll feel that for a while. If there's one thing that oil companies love, it's really their profits.
Really love their
Of course.
profits.
Really love it.
Now, how are you going to fight those gas prices? Are you going to buy Chevron to get those sweet, sweet profits and dividends? Or are you going to short oil because it's too high right now? Quick
You
thoughts.
know, I think it's largely due to geopolitical things. And I think like anything, it's going to go up for a while, but then it'll come back down. So I would say ERX would have been a great play before the war, like when you saw it brewing, because oil always goes up in the war.
Especially when
That's
you're.
a triple leveraged uh, oil oil ETF, ERX. But now I would say it's like a whole sell. So it could continue to go up. I mean, obviously, who
Right.
knows what's going to happen next? If the war blows up, gets bigger. Right.
Yeah, you've got Bank of America calling for $200 a barrel in oil. But I think this is a perfect time to either go common shares or Leafs / long options, right? Oil prices will most likely not be over $100 a year from now, 2 years from now, right? It might take that time. And it's really hard to guess the top or guess the bottom on either way. So I also really like a dollar cost average approach to that as well. And commons plus, going with longer DTEs on options will help you with the ability to dollar cost average through this tumultuous time. But yeah, I agree. Like oil and nickel, right? Most commodities, hopefully, knock on wood, won't be this expensive a year from now. But we saw some pretty great things in the market, right? Major market indexes were up. They saw their best week since November 2020. Get this, ARC ETF had their best week ever. What is happening? Are we seeing? Did we see the bottom, or are we seeing shorts cover on an unprecedented level? Patrick, what do you think?
Well, I think a great man asked the question: is this a breakout or a fake out? It's a good question. I think it's interesting like the timing of it right after the Fed finally is moving forward with 0.25% interest rate hikes. It's like as
Mm-hmm.
soon as they
Mm-hmm.
actually did it, then it'll start going up again. And I'm not really that surprised. That happens a lot where it's like, oh, the fear, the fear, the fear, and then the reality isn't really that
Oh,
bad.
I mean, let's look at if you just like glimpse at is it the weekly on Spy?
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe it's the daily.
So
But
it's
like if you go
also
back, like every one of these spikes, let's get to the right. Let's get to the right time frame here. Every one of these massive dips in this
right.
RSI, which if I zoom in here and I play with the chart, like
Well,
you
that
can
is
see
the
here,
point of an RSI.
it's all FOMC meetings, right? These are
Oh, really?
all JPAL talking through this a massive bull run here. J
Right.
JPAL, 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 JPAL. Oh look, no FOMC meeting in April. JPAL, JPAL, JPAL. Oh look, JPAL, 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 JPAL.
Right.
It's amazing, and it's not JPAL's fault. I'm saying JPAL because that's the president of the Fed, right? What I should be attributing anything to JPAL is these runs afterwards.
Well, it's the fear of the unknown, right? So you don't they have a lot of power over the markets and you don't know what's going to happen, so you want to
That's
cash
exactly
out
right.
while you got your money.
You're absolutely right, Patrick. This is the first time since December 2018 that the Fed actually raised interest rates,
Right.
which is absolutely incredible. And so for the bearish or the more hawkish Wall Street analysts who have been looking at like bond prices, They've been like asking, begging for this for a long time, but they're finally now getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, besides Arc had a pretty good week, but so did our Discord, Roots Research, right? We had a couple phenomenal call outs. EPAM, which we did some actual due diligence on. I mean, top notch, primo DD. It's 15
Yeah, you see
pages.
that picture right there?
It's
That was it.
14 pages plus a page for resources. 15 pages if you want to cite your sources. But we dropped the DD in our Discord on the 7th, right? And from 180 all the way up to past 280, all the way up to 300 here, and it closed around 294. I mean, pretty phenomenal. So that's our DD from the first of the or from that week in March, and then here on the 14th, the next week later, we dropped AVAV, right? With Ukraine and Russia and all this military spending going on, right? Joe Biden recently just signed in another $800 million in Ukraine in aid to Ukraine, right? Volodymyr Zelensky had that amazing and passionate speech he gave virtually to their Congress, asking either for a no-fly zone, which would irrevocably lead us to World War III, which no one wants. So most likely he's going to get what else he wants. If he can't get a no-fly zone, he wants protection, right? We're talking about anti-aircraft missiles, Stingers, Javelins, all of the lot. So,
and in the case of AVAV, they do aerial unmanned drones.
They do,
which is very important for a proxy war that we're having now with Ukraine.
They do a lot.
They also
of cool
made
stuff.
the Mars helicopter.
Yes, right. It's not just
the Curiosity rover.
It's not just defense, but it's also aerospace as well. Which knock on wood, aerospace and defense will one day truly be merged together. But hopefully,
in some ways, yeah.
Hopefully, we're at least a couple of decades away from that. But yeah, I mean, so if you've ever been good at Call of Duty and you've used one of those killing spree care packages, that was an AVAV, right? The UAV, the drone strike, everything in between. They have some really great stuff. We break it all down in the due diligence. And then one which we dropped some due diligence on earlier in 2021 as we favored some of the financial section with rising interest rates, especially SoFi, which we really liked the fundamentals, and we thought it was beaten up because it used to be a meme stock. If you zoom out, you can zoom out enough, you'll see that $20. But because of its meme mentality, it's been brought down here. But it's no longer a meme stock. Meme stocks are no longer in play in 2022. What we're seeing now is a reliance on the true fundamentals of SoFi. And Dylan, one of the members of Roots Research, one of our technical analysts, beautiful call out, right? Grabbed this at 8, and look at that. We closed at the week at 988, which is just phenomenal, over 20%. And just a couple of days. So, up until 2 weeks ago, you could invest in NASDAQ and be down 20%, or listen to Dylan and follow along in his trades if you wanted to after your own due diligence and be up 20% in 2 days. So 2 months, 2 days, it's pretty great. But overall, it's been a pretty great week. My question to you, Patrick, is do you trust it? What is going to happen next week? I mean, no pressure or anything, but do you think we're going to keep going up? Do you think we're going to keep going down? Or are we going back to the Food Network because this baby is chopped?
Well, I think I mentioned this, I think it was on our podcast a few weeks ago, I mentioned it, and I've been buying oversold tech with good fundamentals for that rebound, because I do think that we've seen the bottom. For now, it'll be up. It's kind of more steady as the Fed continues to increase rates slowly. As always, take profits when you can. And I think a lot of things have been sold off due to fear, uncertainty, doubt. And we're ready for a kind of a pullback, at least maybe to attempt at new highs.
You think we're going to attempt new highs? I like that.
Doesn't mean that we'll break it, but
no.
I think that'll be the most important.
Right, and who can't fault the markets for giving it a good 1-2?
Right.
Right? No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it'll be really interesting to see because we had a lot of factors into this week. It was a very bearish week for no real reason. Like the Fed was talking, but the Fed always talks. And Jay Powell spoke earlier in the month to Congress, already announcing a 0.25% interest rate hike. Right? So anyone who still thought we were doing 0.5 kind of just wasn't watching the news or was smoking some hopium of the bearish variety. But I can't.
Bearish hopium?
A bearish hopium. That's exactly right. Or it's what I like to call praying for a Citrix tweet. But it's hard for me to imagine that shorts covered all week from 415 to 445. That's a dramatic move in SPY. Right? Like the indexes had their best week, I mean, yes, they did have their best week of the year. But they also had the best week of 2021, which means really they had the best week since November 2020. Were the markets so bearish? Were the shorts so short that in covering we could create the most bullish week in a year, in 15 months? Or is there some genuine optimism in the markets now? Don't forget the Chinese brought in a lot of opium, right?
Right, yeah. And I think it's some of both. It's always some of both. Short sellers don't generally...
It's always some of both. You're absolutely right. It's never,
only
the Sith speak in absolutes, you son of a bitch. You're absolutely right.
Short sellers don't usually squeeze other shorters just by covering. It's more like good news comes out, causes some short sellers to cover more than usual, and then it's a chain effect.
You're right. Cool. Awesome. So if you had to buy calls or puts heading into SPY next week, would you go up or down?
For a weekly?
Yeah, let's do a weekly.
Yeah, I think I would. I'd probably do puts.
Nice.
At least like Monday.
I don't think you go wrong with like a butterfly, right? I don't think you couldn't go wrong with like in this choppy market. You couldn't go wrong with like calls or puts. But my answer, if the question was flipped on me, cash. I'd be like, screw you, Major. I have no idea. It's Friday afternoon.
Option 3.
Why would you ask me that question? We have 2 full days of Putin to do whatever weird shit he's gonna fucking do. So ask me again Monday before the open. That's my answer. But yeah. I think you that wasn't catching journalism. That was just me like genuinely curious, hoping you could give me some direction one way or the other. But Patrick, thank you so much. Now you were talking about the podcast earlier. We have another episode coming out this Sunday, right? Roots Research.
Sure do.
And you can find that on podcast. Find that on podcast.
On podcast.
Podcast.com. Yeah. I love it.
Where all the
podcasts are. No, honestly, that's a great
Spotify,
question.
Apple Music, basically.
But who owns podcast.com and why aren't they optimizing that URL? You can also follow us on Twitter at rootsresearch_ to let me know why no one goes to podcast.com. And then if you just want to join the conversation, you can follow us in the Discord link below. We'd love to have you there. Love to see you over the weekend. We drop weekly DDs for our premium DD or our premium Discord, and then free monthly DDs in our free Discord as well. We'd love to have you guys all there. Man, what a week! I hope your weekend is as good as Kathy Wood's week was. Bye, everyone.
See you next time.